okay. Oh, I fear I gotta restart the stream. Good morning. Hello. Let me see. I fear I have to. Can I rename it? Okay. Yeah, I can rename it, I think. Hey, Diogo. Nice to have you here. Welcome. Yeah. Nice. Okay. It's running. Recording is also running. That's fantastic. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Okay, nice. Hello, everyone. I'm back with my digital reality screencast slash streaming marathon. This is day 3, and to be honest, my goodness, this is a huge challenge. Stream deck. Does it work? Yes. This is a huge challenge. It's really, it's quite exhausting, to be honest, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing it. And I've learned so much in the last two days. So, it's very, very interesting. So let's move on working on the application that I started to build. And I also would like to go to Discord to tell everyone I'm back online. Let's do that. Oh, I think I'm going to do that on my other screen because I don't want to make my private messages public anyway. Okay. 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 Yes. Alrighty. Cool. How to move on? I have to sort my thoughts. First of all, let's get back to the screencast. Now, yesterday, now processing 3 is starting. I didn't want to start version 3, but version 4. Why is version 4 not in my dock? That's strange. Anyway, I don't care. Processing. Oh my goodness. There's something wrong on my computer at the moment. I see that processing seems... What's going on? That's so strange. Where is processing 4? You know, I am using Ubuntu. And I sometimes really have some very weird bugs. That's the challenge when you work with such a software. Yeah, that's crazy. Processing 4 disappeared. My God. Strange. Processing 3 is still available, but processing 4 is not. Okay. I gotta fix that later on. I don't know what's going on here, but that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. I think this won't make any difference. And can you see that? I'm super relaxed about it because I'm used to solving problems also in Ubuntu. Sometimes I really like it. It's a great challenge. And yeah, for me, that's totally fine. I'm sure I can solve this problem. So that's what I'm going to do after the stream today. All right, let's get back to the code, live stream code. Here's my folder for the code. I'm on my other screen by now. Don't worry, I will move everything to the other screen in just a short moment. My goodness, This is super strange. Processing 4 completely disappeared. Completely. Man. I don't get it. Oh, shit. Well, this is really a very weird situation. I don't know why this happens. Okay. Okay, I try to open it in processing 3 right now. Let's see. Here it is. But it's super strange. Let's run the code and see if it compiles. Looks good. Yeah, it works. So on my operating system, processing 3 and processing 4 don't make such a big difference. Yeah. Hello, Speedwolf. By the way, it's great that you are back here. Thomas is also there. Hey, Thomas. Welcome. Yeah, Diogo, I'm building a 3D scene in processing. So basically, I try to illustrate what creative coding looks like from my point of view. So I don't have a specific goal. My overall topic is digital reality. So I'm researching and, exploring the possibilities of processing in terms of 3D. But that's the whole thing. That's the whole briefing for myself. And I just want to make visible and, let's say, experienceable how it is when you work without a briefing. So that's how I enjoy most to work. So I really like to have no briefing at all and just start exploring things in the way that I find them interesting. And yeah, this is a super powerful tool which basically enabled me to build my whole platform, because nobody told me to become a creative coding educator, right? There was no official job description. I just went through a path from my intrinsic motivation and my feeling that this is right for me. And in the end, it led to this situation that I'm now sitting in front of this computer, streaming on YouTube, talking to you guys. So that's something I find super valuable and super interesting, to also stay cool about the situation and nobody tells you exactly what to do, but try to find your own strategies. Creative coding, this is an amazing quote. I think I showed it yesterday already, but I will do it today again, because I find it super valuable to understand this principle. It looks super simple, but it isn't. It is a definition that has been written by some researchers that wrote a research paper on creative coding, and it has been integrated into the doctoral thesis of Stigmøller Hansen, which is amazing. And they say creative coding is a process based on exploration, iteration, reflection, and discovery. So what this quote says is that creative coding is not how it is understood very often. Some people think that creative coding means programming in the creative industries or programming in the sphere of art. Yes, of course, that's also an aspect of it. But first of all, it takes a look at coding from a perspective, or it looks at coding as a process of exploration, iteration, reflection, and discovery. So something that leads you into an unexplored territory, let's say, to explore new ideas that have not been there yet. And that's what I find extremely interesting. Also, the fact that creative coding is a way to confront yourself with the inner workings of the computer. So yeah, it's more a philosophical process than a technical process. And this is something difficult to understand, I guess. But if you do, then it really becomes very, very powerful. For me, that was the case, and I can't get enough of pointing exactly this out. All right. Yeah, that's a little philosophical excursus here. So yeah, this is the 3D scene, and now I'm doing some magic. I've explored yesterday after streaming. I found something pretty amazing, because we were talking about shaders, and I found something on Google by shader processing. I'm doing my Google searches now on another screen because I don't know if I'm allowed officially to show Google in a screencast, something I have to find out. But here's a GitHub repository by Gene Kogan, who collected some processing shaders. And let's take a look at it. It's pretty cool. So I'm saving that repository to my computer and I'm opening that file, extracting it to my downloads folder. And I will take a look into the repository now. So it's pretty amazing. Let's take a look at shaders GUI. So annoying that processing 4 is not recognized anymore. I fear I have to open it this way. So I have to go to open, downloads. Where is it? Here. Okay. Shaders GUI, and then here's the code, here's the sketch. Let's run it. So this is kind of a, let's say, a playground for shaders. And here are always a few different controllers that we can use to manipulate the shader. So a shader, as I already told you yesterday, is kind of a filter that works on the graphics card. So in processing, we generate a specific scene and we take a shader to manipulate how the graphic card interprets the processing scene. And if we overdo that, we can create artificial structures that are not described exactly in our processing code, but in the shader, just like this example here. This is pure shader code. So everything you see here is just generated by the shader. And maybe you can see that this is a super detailed visual. It's very high resolution and very fluid. It runs with very fast. And the reason for that is that shaders render on the graphics card. So the graphics card is basically a very powerful resource that we have in our computer. Processing code itself is rendered on the CPU, on the processor, but the shader is rendered on the GPU, the graphics card, which is kind of a dumb piece of technology. It is not really high level, so the code that it is able to run is very simple and not so advanced, but at the same time it is able to run many operations at the same time. And that can lead to, to very interesting potentials. So when you look at video games and you see that they look very realistic, that's because there are very well-programmed shaders that interpret the 3D models and put shadows on them and lights on them, depending on the direction they're walking, depending on the sun, or on the light sources. So that's how I understand it. I'm not a shader pro, but yeah, I see shaders as a layer that you can put on top of a processing sketch to kind of create an interpretation of it. So these are color shaders, so-called color shaders, and we can use them to, create generative art or generative visual worlds independent of the sketch itself. But there are also texture shaders in this repository. And by the way, I'm just going to post it to the YouTube chat so you can take a look at it yourself. Where is my YouTube chat? Here it is. Nice. Sergio, amazing to have you here. Welcome back. Here's the code for this repository by Gene Kogan, who is, by the way, a very interesting researcher, also working with artificial intelligence. And these are so-called texture shaders. So as far as I understand it, these shaders are there to create filters for images. So we can play around with these values here. Some of them seem to not work. And this is a threshold filter. So we can put a very performant layer of filtering onto our scenes and onto our processing sketches, which is highly interesting. And this is the one I would like to apply to our 3D scene to make it a little bit more, lo-fi 90s style. So let's try that. So to do it, I will go to my, where is it? Oh, come on. So I will put things next to each other. So at the right, we see the code of the shader GUI by Gene Kogan. At the left, there's my processing sketch. And first of all, what I have to do is I have to create a shader. And by the way, I think there's a simpler code example inside of this repository. It's called texture shaders. Oops, again, this damn it processing bug is super, super weird. Anyway, here we go. That's not the code I wanted to open. I wanted to open... Okay. Downloads, processing shader examples master, texture shaders.pde. I'll put it onto my main screen here. Okay, cool. So I created a variable of type shader, put it at the top of my sketch, and then I will initialize this shader. So where is that happening? There's a function called setup shader. Okay, that must be, here it is. Okay, I will take that piece of code, put it into the setup function. And I will take the name of the halftone GLSL shader. By the way, GLSL stands for OpenGL Shader Language. And I will put it into my load shader function here, and then I can Okay, that's crazy. Yesterday I solved it in a little bit different way. I think that's much easier to understand. Let me go to my folder. Okay, I have to go to my sketches folder on my, where is it? (2022). Oh shit, of course I have to open it with processing because processing 4 is not working for any reason. Again, let's take the whole path here to sketches 2022, and there's one called shader 01. I will open that one here, and this is the example that I need. Cool. So load shader halftone GLSL. Of course, I have to drag that file into my sketch, right? It's in the data folder. I will drag it into the sketch here, and then I will say shade.set pixels per row to 1000, which defines the resolution of this shader. And then in the end of my code here, I will say filter shade. And I hope that this is going to work. Let's see. Whoa, that was easy. Crazy. Okay, now I have a very strange effect on my scene here. And let's take a look at that GLSL file to understand, maybe try to understand a bit how it works. I never wrote any shader code in my life, but maybe this is a good chance to just check it out. Open it in Visual Studio Code, my to-go application to edit code that's not processing code. Okay, there is a extension that can help with GLSL files. That's fine. Search the marketplace and use Clang from an Visual Studio Code. Okay, syntax highlighter for shader language. Okay, let's install this. Yep, I trust it, and I will install it. And this should help me with syntax highlighting. Yep. So as you can see now, we have syntax highlighting. That means we can, it has a few colors in here which we can which helps us to make this whole code a little bit more easy to read. So in a way, it looks very similar to processing code. It is based on C++ as far as I know. So what do we have here? Precision medium P float in. So this seems to be something like a variable definition. This seems to be a namespace. Okay, void main. This is a function that is called. And here there's some magical, I don't know, magical math. And this is the value that we pass into the function set shade.set pixels per row 1000. So this is the function that sets this value here. That means we can change this one to 100, for example, and this will end up in a completely different result, I guess. Let's see. Yep. Whoa, crazy. Very rough and kind of pixelated. Okay. And let's set it to 1090 because that's the resolution we have. 1920 because that's the resolution of the width we have in our sketch. Let's see what happens then. Okay. Oh man, this is crazy. Very interesting. So I was reading a bit about shader languages, and I thought it could be possible to use shaders to implement a diffusion dither effect, but I fear that's not possible because shaders are kind of too dumb, because they don't know what their neighbor pixels do. All they know is that how to apply an effect to a specific pixel, but they have no intelligence about what's happening around them. It's a little bit advanced, but I think this Floyd-Steinberg algorithm cannot be implemented in a shader language. If you have any things or information that prove the opposite, let us know. That's super interesting. But for now, I think that's not possible. Okay, I think this is a little bit distracting, even though this is super interesting and we can play with this later. I will save that now to my to the folder here, and I will share the code on Discord. So if you want, you can play with it. And I think, well, yeah, I don't want to, I don't want to make things too complicated for now, but yeah, we later on can take a look at this example and see how we can use it. Shader. Okay, digital. Okay, this is the wrong folder. Let me see. Okay, code. Oh man. Yeah, this processing 4 crash completely brings me out of my concept, to be honest. Here we go. Where is my Discord window? Here it is. Okay. Channel, whoops. Students only. I drop it in here. Just leave an emoji if you downloaded the code, so we can have a track of the people who have a version of this one. Maybe can start a conversation about this. Okay, I will deactivate this shader now because I don't want to make things too complicated, but we can keep in mind that we have the possibility to apply this shader to the scene when we are finished with it. So what's the problem here? The problem is, yesterday I started to implement a layout algorithm for these surfaces or these displays, these video displays that, let me go to my, where is it? Here we go. To distribute them in a more controlled way and make them more, to put them in a way that looks a little bit more, not looks better, but it makes more sense combined with this kind of interaction that we've implemented here. Yes, so this is it. This is the layout that I've created. So I want something like this to be the camera path, and we can walk on this plate to the front and the back, and we have some video walls at the left and the right of the scene. So we can take the camera to look to the left and look to the right. I hope you get the concept. We'll take a quick look into the chat to see if everything is clear. Okay. Speedwolf, you are a shader expert. That's so cool. Do you know how to implement a Floyd-Steinberg dithering to processing sketches, or basically in GLSL? Is that possible? And if yes, how can we do that? That would be super interesting. Yeah, but back to this thing here. So we want to implement this kind of camera motion. How can we do that? Well, I think I already did it, and I think it makes sense to make this whole scene a little bit less complicated to see where the problem is. I will also create now a camera motion on the y-axis to make sure I can look from above to the scene by creating a new variable called my. So I rename the variable m to mx, and I create another variable called my, and this should be the mouse y, well, the data field that manipulates the y position of the camera. Mouse y height. Yeah, and iy plus my. That should work. Okay, point light. M cannot read. Yeah, okay. I will also delete that line that creates the point light. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, so great. Whoa, that's so cool. Awesome. So I guess the problem is that this is 90 degrees rotated to the wrong direction. So I have to rotate it back 90 degrees to that direction here. So I'm a little bit confused of all these values here that, you know, do things with my scene. It's a bit strange, but maybe I can write a function here to rotate the whole scene back. So this is really try and error. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, I have a little idea that this could be the fix. This is a diffuse and very, let's say, it's a feeling that I have, right? It's just a idea, and I will rotate it now on the z-axis. Well, basically it should be the y-axis where it rotated. Y. Yes. Hey, amazing. That's it. Nice. That worked, right? Try and error. That's so cool. Okay, now I will control how the video walls are rotated, because this is the opposite direction. I wanted to have it differently rotate. I think this should do the fix. Yep. Yes, yes, yes. Nice. Okay. So we can manipulate also the z-axis. So this is the distance between these objects by multiplying it by 400 instead of 200. So this will increase the distance of these video walls. Yes, nice. Because now I can see every single video wall. Oh, I'm walking through them. Okay, because the camera is still... Oh man, this is so cool. I mean, it's super glitchy and buggy, but I like it so much. It's really nice. Let's increase the size of these walls by manipulating the scaling of them in the scene. Yeah, okay. Whoa, crazy. Folks, this is processing. Isn't it magical? So the problem that I see at the moment is that, I'm rotating the camera to the left and the right, and well, basically I'm not rotating it, but I'm moving it. So I think it's time for a little ugly hack to bind the rotation of the whole scene to the mouse position, which creates the illusion that we can move forward and back, but also turn ourselves around our own axis without moving to the x-axis, which will help us to avoid running into these walls. That should be quite easy. I will now erase this piece of code here, and I then also will add mx to the rotation of the scene. Yeah, okay. Plus mx. Oops. Okay, now processing is completely freaking out. It doesn't show the cursor anymore. My goodness, what's wrong today? I never had such a problem with processing. I gotta quit the application and open it again. Otherwise, I don't know what's wrong. And I fear that you could be a little bit daunted by these problems. Don't worry, I use Linux, and Linux is much more buggy than any other platform. But I solved every single problem I had, so don't worry too much about those things. Mostly there's an easy fix to those problems. But of course, in an environment of a live stream, this can be really, really annoying. Okay, now here we are. Here we go. Let me just check the chat again quickly. Hey, Matteo, nice to have you here. I'm just looking into some resources and I'm finally so sure. So, okay. Can't wait to get into that. Jake, nice. Hey, Jake, I wrote an email just a moment ago about your Patreon membership. By the way, thanks for upgrading it. For all the others who are not in my Patreon community, join us. We are a community of creative coders. I'm building this e-learning platform. You get access to all my courses, which are basically accessible on my website. We have an amazing Discord channel where there's a lot of conversation going on. I do events, and you can support my work. I do lots of interviews. I connect with people from the art scene to give insights into the, let's say, inner workings and the philosophy of creative coding. So if you want to support this project, make sure you get a patron. Yeah, I just make this full time. It's my, this is how I earn my money, and I love my job so much. It's really such a great thing. It's my absolute passion. I've built it from scratch by my own, and I'm super lucky today that I'm able to do this. So if you want to join a community of amazing creative coders, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Tim Rodenbrücker. You can also find, I think you can find it in the description as well, or you can check out my website where you find all the courses. Yeah, nice. Where have we been stopping? Here, it seems to work again. And yeah, nice. All right, what's this? Woo, I can... Okay. What's this? I can't believe it. Oh, okay. What? This is so strange. I don't exactly understand what's... What? Okay, I thought I've implemented something that I, by accident, that I wanted to achieve before I just... I'm totally confused now. Before I started to build the... Before I started to research that scene, but it doesn't work, but it looks like a real WASD interaction pattern, but I don't think sorry. I just have to, I don't get my head around this way of interaction. I've just coded this here. But it's amazing. Lucky or happy little accidents. Okay, let's change. Put that. Okay. So this is where I rotate the whole thing. I was thinking, oh, here is... You know, I thought I'm rotating around my own axis, and I do it, but it's seems to be that it's also a little bit offset. So I'm not really rotating around a very dense radius, but you know, I'm just moving while rotating. And also I'm going to change the magnitude here to 180, or let's say to 90, to make it a little bit smaller. It's, you know, controlling the camera and all these perspective things are sometimes very strange and very difficult. And I see now that, you know, as you can see, I'm moving. The camera is not just... It's moving. And also I have a very strange tilt. Okay, I changed something in a weird way. Ah, okay, I also changed my, which was the variable that influences how... Okay. That I can look from above, which is also pretty amazing, I think. Okay, let's take this arrow as a feature. Here I would like to constrain the value to 0 and 1000. Maybe that's... Nope, that's the wrong direction. So I want to constrain it to, let's say, 900 and 0 to make sure we don't look under the whole scene. Okay, that was wrong. I know you can't follow me anymore. Hey, Stick! Nice! Great to have you here. Welcome to the stream. I'm streaming since Monday, every day, 2 hours. And I'm building a 3D scene at the moment. Yeah, I gotta introduce Stick. Stick is a super, super interesting researcher. He wrote a dissertation, and I'm quoting him pretty often. My recent Instagram and Facebook posts have been quoting his dissertation, as well as this stream and the stream of yesterday. So amazing, Stick. It's great to have you here. Welcome. I'm building the 3D scene at the moment. And I try to get my head around the camera and perspective here. So this is I will explain it quickly to you. This is a scene of P graphics element that create an randomized sketch, and I'm trying to understand how I can navigate through such a world with a camera. And I've also looked into shaders to apply them to the whole scene to make this whole thing look a little bit more 90s. And yeah, this is just a very free research project based on this iteration, reflection, and exploration pattern. So I didn't set a constraint goal. I didn't set a something like a goal I want to reach. So the whole thing is framed and conceptually framed by the headline digital reality. So I'm creating a digital reality in processing. That's the whole thing. Nice. It's cool to have you here. Really nice. Okay. Let's see. What can I do to make sure the camera doesn't fall under the plate, under this, you know, the floor? How can I solve this problem? Well, I thought it should be fixed by using a positive value here. And if that's wrong, it is wrong, then I have to reverse these values. So I will say 900 and 300. No, that's minus 300 and minus 900. Is that possible that this is the right? Yes. Yeah, that's it. So this makes sure the camera stays at the top of the plate. Nice. This is great. Very cool. Okay. Now I can... It looks like I'm moving further away from the scene, but I'm still in between those elements here. The value needs to be negative. Thank you, Matteo. Yeah, that's what I did already, right? Yeah. Yeah, enjoy a stick. Enjoy the stream. I really enjoyed it, so this is really much fun, and I'm going to do this much more often in the future, I think. Yeah, and what happens if I just overdo this a little bit and make this value minus 2000 to look at it from a bird's perspective? Also very interesting, isn't it? That's pretty cool. You know, in my programming posters project a few years ago, I just used this kind of pattern to create a 3D exhibition of many different poster designs. And that was super interesting because, I mean, at the moment we have some very, well, randomly generated patterns here. But if we apply some more advanced sketches here that really depict something specific or something concrete, things get really interesting. And this 3D scene becomes a presentation platform for artworks, which, yeah, you know, makes the whole value much higher, I think. But we are in this exploration phase, and maybe later on we can fix this. What I also have in mind now, I would like to create a, I would like to apply a texture to the floor, because I think that this looks a little bit too generative and a little bit too algorithmic. So I would like to, I will go to my web browser, and now I will enter Unsplash to look for an image that could be the floor. So maybe let's say, what could I look for? Maybe texture. Yes, something like that. Let's take this one for now. And later on we can change it again. That won't be any problem. So we'll save the file. Okay, take it and drop it into my, let's see, I will drop it into my sketch folder. Okay, let's go into the sketch folder now, see what's in here. There it is. No, that's not my sketch folder. Come on. Show sketch folder. Okay, it seems to be hidden on my other display anywhere. I don't know exactly where. Here, is that the right one? Yes, it's the right one. And I also will make sure I save another interim state here to digital reality step 9. And I will take, where's the code? Yep. And I will take that file that I just downloaded from Unsplash, and I will drop it into this sketch. But before, I have to change the, change the file name. Let's say floor. And I will drop it into my sketch here, and I will create a new variable type of pimage. Pimage text, comma, floor. and I will load that file to the variable floor. Yep, floor. And I will also apply this grayscale filter to it. And now I will probably be confronted with a little problem because we cannot apply textures to rectangles in processing. We have to create a shape, a P shape. So maybe I can do that quickly by saying, okay, I have a new variable type called P shape. New variable called, well, floor. I already have a variable called floor. I will rename floor to floor text. For floor texture. It's not a beautiful variable name, but okay, that's fine for now. Floor text.filter, and I will create a new shape here. I will use Google to look for a solution for that quickly. Processing plain texture. Oh, I think I can use a box. Processing box texture. Okay, this uses P shape. Oh, it uses just begin shape and end shape and vertex points. Okay, that's cool. Well, let's do it this way. I think that's a little bit easier. And I have to set all these vertices by myself, but that should not be too difficult. So I will say again, whoops. Yeah, I will copy paste that code. I will delete that image. I will say floor text, and I can also now rename this variable again to floor because that makes more sense. Otherwise, it's a very dirty variable name, and I don't need that floor P shape object anymore. I will delete it again. Here we go. Floor. Yes, floor P shape. No, P image floor. Is it existing? Where is it? Up here. Okay, I'm loading the floor.jpg to that element. Amazing. Yes, and of course this code is not, this is the wrong place to put that code. That code should be placed in the scene. So here's the rectangle that is the floor. I will delete that and replace it with this code. So texture floor, and now I will have to put the vertex points to the right position. So why do these vertex points have four parameters? I think the third and the fourth parameter define how this texture wraps, and I guess these values are already in the right position. That means here all I have to do is replace those values with magnitude, because that's the variable that we created to define how wide this whole thing should spread. And we used that also for the rectangle before, magnitude. Okay, and now I have to do something strange, and I will use Figma quickly to explain it. Otherwise, you probably get very confused. Okay, now this is the floor I want to put onto my scene, right? This is the well, the floor I need here. So the thing is, we have now, instead of creating a rectangle that is centered in the middle, let's create a red dot to make sure we all see what I'm talking about here. So before we had a rectangle that we just put into the middle, and we just rotated it on an axis to make it, you know, it was just a rectangle. But now what we have to do is we have to define all these vertices here. That one, that one, that one, and this one. And that's the reason why we have four vertex functions here. So I will use magnitude as a variable because all of them have the same distance from the center. I will start here, I will start here in the center and calculate the distance or calculate the points from the center. So the first point is -1 on the x-axis and -1 on the y-axis. So minus magnitude. So let me just illustrate this quickly to make sure you really can follow me. So I need -1 on the x-axis. Come on. And from there I need to go, oh man, -1 on the y-axis to reach that point, right? So that's what I have to do. So minus magnitude and minus magnitude. That's the first point. Okay, now let's go to the second point, which is that one here. This is +1 on the x-axis and -1 on the y-axis. So we can take that code here, replace it with that, and we can eradicate this minus here. Okay, this is the second point. I hope this works. I don't know exactly if I'm doing everything wrong, but this is how it feels right at the moment. So the next one is +1 or plus magnitude at the x-axis and plus magnitude at the y-axis. So I would just put these variables here and eradicate the minuses. Minuses? What is the plural of minus? I don't know. And then I go minus magnitude on the x-axis and minus magnitude on the y-axis. So that means I can just, yeah, keep it as it is. That's not, no, plus magnitude at the y-axis. Now, let's compare and let's see if something is doubled here. Minus magnitude, minus, so negative, negative, positive, negative, positive, positive, negative, positive. Okay, this should work. Let's see. Oh, please let this work out. What the heck? Oh my goodness, this worked so well. I didn't expect that. Fantastic. Now we are walking on sand, right? That was easy. That was easy. Cool. Let's change the speed a bit. Let's change the speed a bit to, instead of 10, I would like to move with 50 pixels per frame. And I will now take a look into the chat to see if there's some questions. Wow, this looks much more realistic. But as you can see, look, there's this horizon and the elements disappear because they are behind that sphere that displays these clouds. Maybe we can change the size of these, of the globe to 10,000 instead of 5,000. But I fear that this will then also be behind the curtain of the whole 3D scene. No. It is not. That's much better. Now we can move much further away until these elements disappear. I think that's fine for now. Whoa, this is so amazing. Love that. And the cool thing is I can rotate it. This kind of interaction is very interesting because, you know, I can move quite freely. It feels like I'm moving freely, but at the same time I'm staying on this track. I'm staying on this track in the middle of the sketch. And that's quite cool. I will always, when I center the mouse, I will always walk in the middle of the sketch, in the middle of this scene here. Pretty nice. Great. Whoa, that's crazy. Okay, 1 hour is gone. Let's take a look at the chat if there's something new for me. Let's see. Okay. The value needs to be negative. Yeah, great to be here. Okay. Slate. What does slate mean? Idea how the key input for a moment, or hold the key input for a moment, make the camera move around in, say, a circle, then use the tweak mode to tiddle with the camera settings to better understand them. Then go back to key input. Wow, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, I will take a look at this in a moment. They can take 5 in 3D space. Yeah, that means that's true, of course, because we have 3 vectors or 3 positions, x, y, and z for each vector. Third and fourth parameter feature relates to the texture UV mapping. Yep. No, it's much more than an existential nightmare. What do you mean, Speedwell? Do you think the scene looks so dark, or what kind of... I mean, that's true, right? These aesthetics of the scene are very, very dark. Yeah, you know, for me, it's always a conceptual decision to stick to a very simple color theme until I have a good reason to use a specific color. But as you know, I always try to keep things in black and white. Why is that? Well, the reason for that is that I've learned it in my design studies as a principle, as a creative principle and strategy, and this kind of shaped the way how I work. It has some drawbacks. Sometimes it may look much darker than it actually should be, but at the same time, it just reduces everything to the bare minimum. It makes things much easier to deconstruct in your head, I think. So making things black and white, you know, removes some complexity that could lead to some disturbance when you want to understand specific things. And at the same time, I really like to work with this kind of scary, maybe a little bit scary aesthetics. I think they're very powerful. I really resonate with them for any reason. Yeah, that's one of the reasons, or these are the reasons why I often stick with black and white. I think, yeah, it's a very, very conscious decision, and I'm following this pattern since more than 10 years, and I feel like this is my personal way to work. And yeah, I really like comments like these because they really help me also to characterize this way of working. Yeah, Zuckerberg is watching. Mark, great to have you here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to talk about the metaverse, let's have a chat. But before, we have to speak about security and privacy and all these things. So if you are watching this stream, I would like to talk about some things. So otherwise, you won't be able to hire me. You can't buy me, right? I will stick to my principles. I will keep my integrity for any price. And yeah, let's discuss this, but don't have too much hope in my collaboration. Because I don't like the idea that you try to, how to conquer the whole internet, to possess the whole internet, and to make everything look very nice and friendly, even though it is, you know, it is a proprietary, terrible world where big companies make a lot of money. Hey, I'm talking too much about this, but yeah. Let's put an alternative to the metaverse, guys. I mean, this is a wonderful foundation. I think we are not that far away from it. Maybe we can, yeah, build a very nice alternative. And we even can add some colors to it to make it more appealing to other people that don't tick like me, who likes black and white. So I'm also very interested in your opinions on this kind of aesthetic. So feel free to write any kind of comment on that. Yeah. These are my thoughts about the metaverse for now. Yeah, let's have a meeting. I mean, I fear processing doesn't have any possibilities to well, we could implement something like a WebSocket server where we all can walk around this scene here. Maybe I would do this tomorrow, but I fear I won't finish it because it's much too complex. Oh man. Alrighty, let's see how we can get further here. Now, I think, well, I think we should maybe add some more walls. Maybe we can also add some walls at another axis, so we can have kind of a two-dimensional for loop which distributes these walls. And also I would like to make some experience with the lighting. And by the way, how does the shader look like that we just implemented in the beginning of this video? Let's take the shader and command it in again and see what happens. Whoa. Okay. This is pretty amazing because it reduces the complexity very much. It makes the whole thing look much simpler, but it's still pretty cool to see that the floor, wow, the floor still has the sand structure, and that makes the whole scene feel very three-dimensional, even though it's a very thresholdy aesthetic. I love that. It's pretty amazing. And by the way, we should be able to tweak the color in the shader file to make it a little bit more, to make it look different. Let's see if that works. Is there a variable that defines the color? Okay, this is the brightness. I don't see it for now. I don't see any variable that looks like the color value white and black, or the color values black and white. And for any reason, it doesn't highlight the code, which is okay, but I thought I installed the extension. Anyway, it's not too important for now. I don't see any variables that store colors here. Float brightness, call.rcall, g.call, and comma b. I don't know. Well, we have to stick with it for now, I think, but this is already pretty interesting. Now, I think I won't go too deep into the camera logic for now, because I want to make some progress with the visual aesthetics of the scene. I think this could be something I will look into later on when I kind of fine-tune the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, cool. What's next? I'm a bit confused. I don't exactly see the next step. And I remember, oh, we had some directional light. We can switch it on again and maybe set it to 255 again to make it much brighter. I would just like to see how that looks like now. Okay, whoa. Yeah, the problem here is, of course, that, oops, for any reason, the light disappears. I have to maybe drag it a little bit to the top to make the texture visual. Well, I can't see the floor anymore, which is kind of strange. Why is that? Tweaking the values of the directional light function. Everything is dark now, okay. Now the light should come from above. How can we do that? Well, all we have to do in theory is we have to just drag it to the top at the y-axis. Comes from the bottom. Is there something what I'm doing wrong here? I mean, the y-axis value should be in negative, right? No? Okay, that's very interesting. I thought it should be negative. Now that's pretty cool, because now the light comes from the direct top of this whole sketch. And the problem is, you know, these displays here are super thin. These are just images, right? And that's the reason why they don't get any light, because they are 1 pixel or 0 pixel thick. So they cannot really receive any light. What I can do now is I can just drag the light source from the top a little bit to the back by saying 1, for example, here. Okay, we don't see any. Okay, interesting. Why is it? Because we are, okay, we are not just moving the camera, but the whole scene. And that's the reason why the lighting changes a bit when I just rotate and, you know, translate the whole scene. That's interesting. Okay, that means we probably do have to change the whole camera. Stig, are you available for a quick call to see if we can make the whole camera working? I don't know if you have any experiences with the camera function processing, but maybe we could have a little chat to check out how this could be fixed. That would be amazing. Then all of you guys could learn to know Stig. I'm waiting for a comment. Seems to be that Stig is not watching anymore. Too bad. Okay, let's shift this not available. No worries, that's fine. Okay, let's do this later on, maybe. Okay, so now I have switched on the lights again, which is quite interesting. I mean, we even could stick with that for now. I think it's quite cool to have this kind of, well, this lighting doesn't work, but maybe let's deactivate it for now to make it yes, that's interesting. That's cool. So, you know, one very, very interesting effect could be achieved, I think, by replacing the sketch with a three-dimensional scene. So we could build three-dimensional scenes that are displayed on these video worlds that also react to the mouse movement. I think this could be extremely interesting. And that's what I would like to do now. I will now save that sketch to the folder here, and I will again send it to my Discord channel. Compress, go to Discord, to the channel, and okay, nobody seems to use that code at the moment. That's fine. Wow, files are too powerful. Interesting. Why is that? Well, of course, because these images are very, very large. Okay. You know, Discord has a limit of uploading. Now we have 11 megabytes. Maybe we can delete some files here. We don't need all these SVGs, even though I think they don't make any difference. Let's quickly change these clouds to 2.jpg. I would like to know how a more contrast image looks like. Probably much more dramatic, much more metaverse reality style. So let's replace it with 2.jpg. Okay, it loads kind of quite long. Oh, does it have a problem? Oh, okay, it's loading all the shapes still, which is not necessary. Oh, of course, I need the shapes to, damn it. I need the shapes to create these P-graphics video walls. Okay, let's eradicate. Damn it. Okay, I think maybe I can undo the deletion of the SVG elements. For any reason I can't. Let's go to the other state of the application and take all the files again, take them, put them into that last state here, replace everything, and then I will upload the whole thing to WeTransfer. Compress. Okay, we'll go to WeTransfer. drag it here, get a link. %, it's uploading at the moment. Now we have 100%. Okay, take that code, put it into my Discord channel, and then we can move on. Alrighty, great. Here we go. Nice. All right, so now let's deconstruct the whole thing again and remove this grid pattern sketch from the pgraphics objects. I will delete everything that has to do with the tiles here from my sketch video wall. Yeah, EFG, okay, rotation, these are the values that I need. Okay, tiles X and tiles Y is not necessary anymore. Shapes is also not necessary anymore. Modulo is necessary. Okay. These are the rotations that I just used to distribute these video walls on the sketch. So I will keep that stuff. Okay. I would now just delete all this code. And see if the whole thing still runs, which would be very nice. Speedwolf, that's an amazing and very interesting question. And by the way, you can now see that I used a different background now. The other cloudy background. Let's remove that. I think I can. I think that should be possible. Applying a shader to the scene should be possible. We can try that. But for now, I have to delete all these SVGs just to clean the whole folder a little bit up. And I will change it to one JPEG again, because the other sky was much better, I think. Yes, nice. Okay, now we have these video walls, and I think we even could run some shader code on this one, but let's do that step by step. Okay, so first of all, I would like to set the pgraphics element to P3D. That should still run, probably. Yep. No. Did you see that? For any reason, they disappeared for a moment. Maybe because okay, here's still a very strange modulo algorithm in here. Okay. I see that I'm not that concentrated as yesterday, so I feel like streaming for a week is a very, very difficult thing to do. Yesterday I was super energized and I felt very, very, how to say that, enthusiastic. I still feel super enthusiastic, but I also feel like this really took a lot of energy, to be honest, which is totally fine. And I knew that this will be the case, but I still think that it's very interesting to reflect on this. Yeah, okay, I've got a background here, video wall FG, and I will fill it with FG for any reason. FG and video wall FG are two different variables, so I will use that variable instead. Okay, now, for example, we could do something like putting a sphere into that scene. Okay, PG dot, first of all, let's create some lighting, directional light. 255, 255, 255, -1, 0, 0. This will create a directional light from the left, which is white. And we could create a sphere into the scene. Sphere, parentheses, and say 500 should be the size of it. Just to check out if that works. Running the code. And I still should probably deactivate the stroke. Okay, nothing can be seen here. Why is that? I don't know. Let's deactivate the... Okay, because the filling and the background are the same color, so there was a little typo in here. Now we should see the sphere as a circle. Okay, what's wrong? Yeah, of course, I have to translate the whole thing to the center of the sketch window. Translate pg.width divided by 2 and pg.height divided by 2. Okay. All right, I guess the sphere is much too large. Let's resize it to 100 pixels. Yep, that was the fault, the error. Okay, let's reverse BG and FG. Let's scale the sphere up to 200 and activate the direction light and also deactivate the stroke. All right. That's pretty nice. Okay. Now we have spheres on our screens here. And I will scale it down to 160. And now let's do something very strange. Let's take the code for the camera. This is highly experimental. I don't know what's going to happen now. Let's take the whole code for the camera and put it into that thing here. Let's see. I'm super excited to see what happens then. Okay, pg dot camera, ix, iz, and so on. Okay, hope it doesn't say that I have duplicate variables. No, I don't, because the other variables are declared in the draw loop. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Oh, could it be that I don't have to translate the scene when I'm using the camera function processing? Well, that would be, I don't think that this is true, but no. Okay, it is at the top left. Why isn't it centered? I know why, because of course I have to address the specific width of the pgraphics object or not of the whole scene. So that's why I have to put pg dot in front of it. With a dot syntax, I'm accessing this pg pgraphics object, and now it should work. Okay, nice. And now I say ix plus mx. Let's see what happens then. Okay, it's not really doing a lot. Why? Well, because probably the visual effect of this movement is not so easy to recognize. Let's say let's say times 100, times 3. I don't know what's going on then. Yeah. Now we can see that, the lighting of the spheres is changing based on the mouse position, which is quite cool. Okay. Nice. Okay. What's next? So I think the whole scene is still very flat in the, we don't have any, I mean, we have a really interesting, huge 3D scene. We could add some very interesting buildings and some very interesting objects that could be, that's maybe something I could do tomorrow. Okay, Stick has a nice comment here, also highly experimental. What would happen if you grabbed a copy of your current camera view and use it as a texture on the walls? I predict some trippy, glitchy recursion patterns. Ooh, yeah. How can I do that? Then I would probably have to... That would be very interesting. Yeah. Let's do that. I guess I would have to put the whole scene onto a main pgraphics object. I mean, that does make sense because putting a processing sketch on a pgraphics object gives us much more flexibility in the end. So I think that's anyway a very good idea. And then we could just use that pgraphics object instead of the video wall objects. Or we could, we could use the image function inside of the... Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's try. Okay, I'm creating a new pgraphics object. Pgraphics, let's call this scene. No, I think I have a function called scene, so that's not a good idea. Pgraphics main scene. Well, to make the code clean, I would say I would have to change the name of this scene function to draw scene and change it here as well. And then I can name the pgraphics object scene. Not skein, but scene. Okay, now we can use the dot syntax to access that pgraphics object and apply it to all these functions here. So here, okay, let's deactivate the shader for now. Here I will start with scene.beginDraw. Here we'll end with scene.endDraw. Scene.background bg, and I can delete that thing here. Here I put scene in front of the camera function, in front of the perspective function, and now I have to go into my scene file and also put the dot syntax in front of all functions, and I also have to create the scene object in the setup function later. So that enables us to access specific values from the scene object. Okay. Infinity mirrors. Yep, exactly. Okay. And we also have to probably, okay, PG dot. Do we have to do something with this one here? We don't need the rotation anymore. No stroke, I think. Why is that function here? Does it make any sense? No. Okay, let's delete it. Let's see. Okay, does the whole thing work? No, I still have to probably, yeah, I still have to create the pgraphics object. Here, scene equals to create graphics parentheses, and then I say width and height. Let's run the code and see. Oh, of course I have to set it to P3D, otherwise it won't be three-dimensional. P3D. Does it work? It's dropping an error, but this error has been there before already. Okay, I'm not displaying the scene here because, of course, well, I have to use the image function to display the scene on my sketch window, otherwise I won't see it. Okay, image mode seems to be set to center, I guess. Okay, let's try. exciting. Whoa, what happened now? Strange. Ooh. Okay. I mean, it works. That's already pretty nice. But why are these objects so... Okay, they are now... I again have to drag them out of the sand because they are much too deep. How to do that? Why are they so large now? I mean, why are these objects now larger than before? I don't get it. Why did I use the scale function here? I don't exactly remember. Okay. It's now a little bit smaller, but it's still not at the right position. But hey, I mean, for me, that's no problem. I just drag it much more to the top. And I don't care too much about this little bug. I don't need to understand the whole thing now. Okay, that was a little bit too much. Let's put this to 420 maybe. Yep, that seems to work. Nice. Okay, now we come to the interesting part. Oh, okay, the problem is that we are generating the scene here in the draw scene function. So we need, The problem is that, you know, the scene function is generated when, and while the generation of the scene, it is generating all these video walls. That means the scene is not generated, generation of the scene is not finished when we define what is put on the video walls. That means we cannot access the scene object when we put the visuals onto the video walls. Do you know what I mean? Okay, they are the same size. Bird, they move down into horizontal as move to the middle. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I think that makes sense. So I don't. Well, we cannot in the video wall here in this function. We cannot access the scene until we generate it. Well, I don't see any fix to that, because the problem is that the scene is just not finished placing the video walls when we are creating these video walls. So this is a very, very strange problem, but I'm not a recursion pro, so maybe you know something like a fix for this. Maybe it is a larger and scaled around the center point. Okay, you're still talking about the positioning of the video walls, I think, right? Okay, I think this won't work for me now. I don't exactly know how to do that. So we have to stick for now to the current version with that globe in the middle. So maybe we distribute some more video walls on the scene now to make it a little bit more interesting. So we could take that algorithm that just does that, like putting all these things into the right position. Okay, this, by the way, is not necessary anymore, because that was the code that generated these boxes that kind of made the floor, right? So this is not necessary anymore. Okay, so we are... This is where the globe is generated. Maybe we can write some commands here. I'm really exhausted now. I feel like, woo, it's super my brain capacity is really slow down very quickly at the moment. It's fine. I really can go on now, but it's super interesting to observe how this kind of work, like, you know, streaming, coding at the same time, how much capacity of my brain it needs. Okay, this is the place where I create the dome. The dome is, or let's say the sky. This is the place where I create the floor. And don't need that. Anymore. Okay, rec mode could also be deleted. Okay, this is where I create the floor. This is where the video walls get distributed. And by the way, I was talking about Robert C. Martin, who is this clean code software development guru. And he says that good coders don't need any comments. That's why I'm very hesitant of writing many comments. Good code explains itself. I mean, this is very messy code now, but if you name your functions in a good way and you build a very solid architecture in your sketches and your applications, then yeah, it is really a great challenge to do so, because later on it's much easier to read your code. Okay, I'm distributing these video walls here, and here they are displayed. This is how I translate them. So instead of setting fixed values inside of that object, like the magnitude, or where is that value, x and z and rod, I would, what is s again? S is, what is s? S is kind of a variable that controls where, this is kind of the iterator of the for loop that controls how these things get distributed. And here I define the rotation, and I will change these values to 1 instead of minus. So the range of these values to 1 and -1, and then I can multiply them here in my scene function. Good code is self-documenting. Yeah, that's probably a quote by Robert C. Martin, right? So I could use a multiplier here, a multiplication value. I could say something like spread equals to 400. And I can multiply this by spread. 420 is a fixed value, that's fine. Rotate, scene rotate x, and here is the place where we rotate the walls, and I would say times 45, and this should end up with exactly the same result than before. Let's see. No, it doesn't. Why? Okay. I don't get it. Well, I think I need a break. I definitely need to stop now, because I feel super overwhelmed by doing this now. I will move on tomorrow. I think that's also a good. That's a good decision for now, because, you know, I don't want to overdo things. I will reset all the code so that it still works, and then you can play with it. And then we will see us tomorrow at 10 a.m. and I will move on with my stream. Yeah, okay, so this is the current state of the application. Very nice. Save it to Digital Reality step 12. And in a minute, I will share it with through my Discord server. For now, I want to wish you a very nice day. Thank you so much for following the stream. For me, as I said, it's super much fun. It's a new experiment. I think this is a great format for the future for me as well. And yeah, stay tuned about updates on my Discord channel. And again, if you want to learn creative coding, you can join my Patreon community. I've got some online courses on my website which you can visit, and some exclusive events for the community. We've got the student level, which gains you access to all the courses, and also some exclusive events. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. I wish you a great day and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.